Hi everyone, it's Chris here, and in this video I want to talk briefly about who I am and why I created this channel for all of you guys. So first of all, I'm 25 years old right now, but I really became financially free at 24 years old. So I graduated at 22, and I was 21, 22, and in 2 short years I've managed to leave my corporate job and to become fully financially free. And what that means is I don't need to work a full-time job anymore. I can self-sustain with my passive income if I choose to. So in this video I want to talk about how I did it. I know there are a lot of other videos out there of other people talking about how they got to where they are, and in those videos there are usually a lot of kind of abstract concepts, a lot of motivational elements. But in my video, I want to talk more specifics. I want to talk about how I really got there and whether it is something that you guys can also do, no matter how old you are right now, whether you're 20, 24, 30. If it took me 2 years to get to where I am right now, where I basically can travel anywhere I want and not have a full-time job, then you too can also do it in a few short years. And so in this video, I want to share my own experiences of how I did it. So again, right now, I run 2 main businesses, 2 main physical product-based businesses, and together those 2 product-based businesses generates about $30,000 per month for me. And on top of those 2 businesses, I also have a digital agency that I run on the side. So as you can imagine, the 2 product-based businesses are already completely passive, which means even if I don't work, even if I just lie in bed the whole day, that's going to generate money for me, $30,000 every month. The digital agency, I'll explain a little bit more later on, but that's really a way for me to diversify my revenue sources, and so that is what is taking up most of my time. And in fact, in order to focus on the digital agency side of the business, I have actually quit my full-time position at Deloitte, which is a consulting company, around 3 or 4 weeks earlier. So right now it's like my 3rd or 4th week where I am completely, I guess, unemployed and just working for myself, right? So a lot of people say, oh, my background is in arts, is in drama, and so I don't have the right skill set to build an online business. But that's complete bullshit, because I studied arts, I studied history, I studied politics, right? And so these are completely irrelevant to running an e-commerce business, and still I managed to run a 6-figure business, create a 6-figure business in just 2 short years. So if I can do it, you can also do it. And I also didn't come from a very rich family. I don't have a rich family background. And I know a lot of people say, oh, if you're rich, you can use money to create money. But I'm proof that you don't have to come from a rich family to become financially free, right? Maybe you need money to create like millions of dollars, but if we're just talking about creating a stream of income that only has like $200,000 per year, $500,000 per year, right? This is something that anyone can start, right? And there are many ways to start creating a business without even investing any, if at all, of your own money. So anyways, I studied history and politics, and I graduated, and I entered into Deloitte. If you haven't heard of Deloitte, it's traditionally an accounting firm, but they also do consulting, right? So I was there as a consultant where I helped different Fortune 500 companies to give them advice on how they can improve their operations or their strategy in order to increase their revenues, right? Increase their profits. And so I was there for roughly 2 years, and during this time I spent basically my off hours to build up these businesses that's generating these passive income for me now. While my time at Deloitte was great and all, there are 2 main reasons I decided to leave, right? Because I realized that my end goal, my ultimate life purpose, if you will, isn't to work in a corporate job. It isn't to make as much money as possible. I realized that, yes, I want to make money, but my ultimate end goal, right, my end is to have freedom to spend time with people I love, right? Like my family, my girlfriend, my future wife, my future kids. Like for me personally, that is my end goal. It doesn't matter how much money I make. If I make $100,000 and I can sustain that lifestyle where I spend a lot of time with my family, with my loved ones, then that's fine with me. I don't need to make millions. So realizing that as my end goal allowed me to understand that working at Deloitte was never going to get me there. I was never going to be able to work at Deloitte while maintaining a lifestyle with my family, with my loved ones that I envisioned, right? Because if I'm working a 9 to 5 job, 9 to 6 job, I'm simply not going to have enough time to go on those trips to spend the quality time I want with my family. So anyways, I decided that working a corporate job is out of the question for me in the long term. I have to be my own boss so that I can control my time better. I can leverage assets. I can leverage other people's time to create money for me. That was my only option. That's one of the first reasons I left. And the second reason I left is also I realized something quite interesting, is the fact that working at Deloitte made me realize my value. Because when you work as a consultant or any sort of service-based business, the charging structure is usually where your company is going to slap on a price tag on you, so like X amount per hour, and then their client then pay that fee for your work on an hourly basis. So let's say you are like $100 per hour, right, as decided by your company, and you work 10 hours. That means your company is going to charge your client 1,000 hours, right? So that's how much money you're worth in those 10 hours, $1,000. And in those 10 hours, you might only be given like 10% of that. You might only be paid like $100 for the 10 hours. And the company makes $900. So there's the discrepancy there, right? Because you are worth $1,000, but you're only getting paid $100 because the rest of it is going to the middleman, which is your company, your employer. And realizing that made me understand, again, that if I want to have more free time, if I want to get what I'm worth, I can't work for a boss. I can't work for a big company. I mean, of course, there are some people who do get what they're worth, but the very definition of being an employee means that you are creating more value than you're paid. That's how companies make profits, right? And so for these two reasons, I decided I had to leave Deloitte. I just had to. So at this point, I already have some experiences, right? At university, I started a startup that created a software or a platform website which allowed students to sell notes to other students. So it allowed people who are really good students who take really awesome notes to sell those notes to other students who might not be able to make that lecture, or they want to skip that lecture, right? Whatever it is, it allowed them to sell those notes, those revision guides to other students. So that was a great idea, but it ran into some regulation problems, some legal problems. For example, we weren't allowed to really share what we learned from the professor because of copyright issues. So that kind of died. And then after university, I also started a business selling physical products on Amazon FBA. So I tried selling notebooks, I tried selling key organizers, and that was profitable, but it wasn't profitable enough for me to keep doing it. It just didn't generate enough money to be like worth my time. So I left that business as well. And so when I was at Deloitte, I had experience, right? I had experience starting my own companies. I had experience advising other companies. And then I also realized that I have to be financially free to achieve my end goal in life. I had to create businesses that is going to allow me to be financially free. And there's a distinction between financially free and wealthy, right? Wealthy just means you make a lot of money. You may not be financially free because a lot of people who make a lot of money are actually stuck in a job, right? Like lawyers, doctors, those people are wealthy, but I wouldn't call them financially free because they have to work, they have to continuously to work to trade time for money. For me, I wanted to be financially free, which is I no longer have to work to generate enough money to sustain my lifestyle. That was my end goal. So I decided that e-commerce was always going to be the best way because you're able to create assets that is going to help you generate passive income forever as long as they are self-sustaining. As long as you can walk away and they still function, then you have basically a machine that just prints out money for you. So I decided e-commerce is the way. So even though I had those experiences, I didn't have a lot of savings at that time when I was at Deloitte, when I started my e-commerce business. So I decided to find a way to start an e-commerce business without using a lot of my own money. What I realized was that Amazon FBA, even my startup idea in university, a lot of that required very large sums of capital. And so I was trying to figure out a way of how I can start a business without a lot of capital, without risking all my savings. And I found a way, and that way is crowdfunding. And so I think crowdfunding is an awesome way for anyone to start a business because it allows people to essentially use other people's money to start your own business, right? And it's like a no-risk strategy because even if you fail and you try your best, then that's okay. You have no legal obligation to like repay those people. If you succeed, you just started a business with other people's money, which is completely awesome. So that was how I started my two product-based businesses. One is in the beauty and health space. Another one is in the consumer electronics space. And recently, I started a digital agency as well called Decade Digital. And the reason I started that is because in the last few years, the cost of ads is rising very quickly, which means that a lot of small businesses are going to struggle in the next 5 to 10 years. But on the other hand, a lot of big companies are going to enter into this space. So like big companies like Fortune 500 companies, where they traditionally spend a lot of their advertising budget on TV, on billboards, they're now shifting that budget towards Facebook advertising. And they're going to need agencies, they're going to need people to help them run those ads, people who know how to run ads. And so that's why I started this business. So I'm both present in like two parts of the same supply chain, right? I'm operating in the space of starting my own business, but I'm also operating in the space of providing the service to run ads for these businesses. So, whichever end is more profitable, I'm still going to be a part of that. So that's my rationale for starting this digital agency. And obviously, as I mentioned, is not as passive as the product-based businesses. So, I'm spending a lot of my time today working on these things. But the whole idea behind these businesses as the product-based business is that once you set it up, you put the right procedures in place, the right processes, the right people. And once you do that, you can essentially walk away. You can go on holiday, you can lie in bed all day, whatever you want to do. And these businesses are going to continue to generate revenue for you. So finally, before I end, I wanted to share my story because I wanted to show people what is possible. I think I've been incredibly lucky to be where I am today, right? I feel like I'm 24, 25, and I feel like, being financially free or being retired at this age is really something that's not possible many, many years ago, like 10 to 20 years ago. But today it's very feasible. It's honestly, a lot of my friends, I know a lot of entrepreneurs have done similar things as me, and a lot of them have done greater things than me simply because they understood the way to do it and they leveraged the power of the internet and e-commerce. So, again, I feel like I've been very fortunate to be where I am right now, and I want to spend more time giving back to the community, to teach other people to do what I've done, because I really think, if you enjoy the 9-to-5 lifestyle, that's great for you. And so this channel is created for those people. I want to give them advice. I want to help them to, leave this corporate job and create the lifestyle that they want. So if you enjoy content like this, or if you think you benefit from some of these content, some of my advices, then please comment on this video. It really helps out the algorithm. And of course, subscribe if you want to be notified when I release new content and new videos.